Good evening and welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. The results of the chairmanship election in the 6 area councils of the Federal Capital Territory have been released by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Hadiza Ebunne has the details.
Results from the 6 area councils in the FCT chairmanship election has been released. From Abuja Area Council, APC won with 7,280, while the PDP polled 4,062 votes and ADP 25.
We cannot go into declaring a candidate winner because the winning party here does not have a candidate that we can return as a winner.
From Gwagwalada, APC polled 11,125 votes, PDP 9,597, and ABGA got 106 votes.
Abubakar of APC, having satisfied the requirement of the law, is hereby declared the winner.
While from Kuje, PDP emerged winner with 13,301 votes, APC 7,694 votes, and LP 79.
Suleiman Abdullah Sabo of PDP, having certified the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner.
From Buari Area Council, PDP polled 13,045 votes, while APC 7,697 and ABGA 6,003.
John Gabaya Shekwogwaza of PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner.
From Kwali Area Council, APC won with 7,646 votes, PDP 7,345, and ADP 70 votes.
Sunday Anladi Chia of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner.
And from Amak, PDP emerged winner with 19,302 votes, APC 13,240, and PRP 287.
Christopher Zaka of People's Democratic Party, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
With this announcement of results from the 6 area councils of the FCT, the chairmanship election has come to an end. The only area council yet to have its chairman declared is Abuja. Hadiza Ebunne, NTA News.
In related developments, the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, has expressed concern over the 4 polling units in Ward 5 of the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, that recorded no voter turnout in the FCT Area Council election. Miriam Amadu reports that the CDD program officer made this known while briefing journalists on the group's findings.
Observe that the general turnout of voters in the FCT Area Council elections was impressive, particularly in Gwagwalada, where a crowd came out in their numbers. The group also noted the incident of monies exchanging hands in Abaji Southeast Ward and Gwagwalada.
The strategy of vote buying involved party agents asking voters who had been induced to converge in a particular location away from the polling unit to sell their votes. Also, the problem of poor crowd management, which led to INEC officials being overcrowded by voters, thereby disrupting the general electoral process.
CDD also pointed out the partial malfunctioning of bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS across some polling units, while in others it was a failure.
The BVAS, we are waiting for INEC to respond. We tried to reach them during the course of this failure. The question kept coming, the feedback kept coming that they were on top of the situation.
CDD observers' data show that 33.2% of INEC officials were women, whilst 66.8% men across the areas the group monitored. Miriam Amadi, NTA News.
YIAGA Africa, as an accredited election observer body, has identified insecurity and low voter turnout as part of challenges at the just concluded Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections. The YIAGA Africa Director of Programs stated this while briefing the press. Odiri Arutere has the details.
The press, YIAGA Africa spoke concerning reports received from observers on field. The Director of Programs, YIAGA Africa, Cynthia Mbamalu, says their observers have identified some irregularities.
Late opening of polling units due to poor logistics and election security problems. In line with the election guideline, the BVAS was deployed in all polling units observed. In some polling units observed, INEC deployed 2 BVAS machines to the polling units. Some others with over 1,000 registered voters had only 1 BVAS. This is actually against INEC's plan. INEC had committed to have more than 1 BVAS in polling units with over 1,000 voters.
YIAGA Africa suggests INEC officials should act in utmost sense of integrity, transparency and professionalism in collation and the declaration of election results. In Abuja, Odiri Arutere, NTA News.
Devoted to radio and trust is the theme of the 2022 edition of the World Radio Day, celebrated on 13th February every year. Broadcasters and media analysts who are marking the event around the world say despite a global decline in trust in the internet and social media networks, radio continues to be seen by people as one of the most trustworthy news sources in Nigeria. Millions of people still rely on radio as a source of information, education, and entertainment. And there are currently 265 AM and FM radio stations across the country. Now, being joined in the studio by the Director of News Voice of Nigeria, Ben Shema, to talk more on this year's theme and other issues. You're welcome to Nationwide.
Thank you very much.
Now, what makes radio popular among millions of Nigerians, considering the abundance of choice of platforms and content in an ever-evolving media landscape?
The trust is there, very constant like the Northern Star, and the messages, of course, reach nooks and crannies. You don't need electricity after all. It's not complicated, it's accessible, and you find even those in the bushes, farmers, you see cattle rearers, they carry their radio sets along, and you can also use it in terms of teaching people how to even go agriculture. You use it for education. You can see that even campuses are now having radio stations to ensure that they have what is called campus radio. So the United Nations, UNESCO just felt that radio is trusted, it is there, it is constant, it is to be used for humanity and for the good of for the good of everybody.
Now let's move further. This year's theme, Yes to Radio and Yes to Trust, has on 3 sub-themes, including trust in radio journalism, accessibility and viability of radio stations. And how do they all relate to Nigeria's peculiar socioeconomic and political climate?
I tell you, they are so related. Yes to radio, because now we've just had election results from FCT now.
Absolutely.
You could see the way, the influence of radio. Any mistake done in radio is like, petrol poured or sprinkled on fire. Therefore, radio will always penetrate and go to every target audience. And that's why it's that trusted. If you check, it took time for television to be on board, but radio has been there and it will continue to be there because of its service to humanity. In terms of entertainment, agenda setting, in terms of, telling government what they ought to do, in terms of even twisting sometimes when it comes, in terms of opinion, you mold opinion, you tell people what ought to be done, and that is done through radio. And of course, In terms of mass communication, it goes to the poor, it goes to the rich, it goes to everybody. It's just permeable, it is everywhere.
Against all odds, radio seems to have survived the digital age, but what role does it have to play in reducing fake news and hate speech?
Honestly, it has, because of the kind of gatekeepers around the corner. It's always very, very traditional in approach. You have a reporter who goes in, he comes and gives the report to an editor, there's a sub-editor, they edit all of this before you go on air. So there are always checkpoints. But when it comes to the social media, of course, everybody now practices what is called citizen journalism. You just see accidents in, instead of you to go and assist, you're there simply recording and sending instantly, offending even when you have offensive materials. And there are even rape cases where you have babies being raped. Instead of you to know that babies are not supposed to be a kind of exposed to the world, the babies are rather being, the victim is being brought to the fore. It's supposed to be that you deal with the perpetrator, deal with the criminal, and let this, the innocent be allowed to be. So radio has become that thing that will link government and the people. In terms of checkmating government, you can as well speak to people directly in the field, and they begin to tell government, look, government ought to do this and this and this. And I tell you what, many of these government officials, they listen to radio, because radio, you can keep it by your pillow, you can close your eyes and listen to radio. It's just accessible, it's portable, the messages are just there, you know.
Now, on a quick note now, we live in a world, we've talked about the digital age, where everybody seems to be a blogger, being on the social media. Do you think radio will survive another century?
Radio will survive, surely. Even when we have what you call a convergence of the media, television is on phone, your newspaper is on phone, the radio is there, but you realize that audio, therefore, must be there. Whether they're talking of television, you have a vision without a voice, then you have not made it. There has to be the radio element. Newspapers are going into radio or television, you still have to have the voice, and that is the audio aspect. And that is why radio has come to stay. It will stand as solid as the rock, as constant as the Northern Star in terms of serving people.
Ben Shema, I'd like to thank you for coming on Nationwide today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
I've been conversing with Ben Shema, who is the Director News of the Voice of Nigeria on the 2022 World Radio Day. Well, while we'll leave the World Radio Day to continue the news, let's also tell you, in this age of digital broadcast, you can follow the news telecast live on our website at nta.ng/live, and also on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page, NTA Network News, while also on Twitter, it's at NTA News Now, while on Instagram, it's on NTA Network for updates. Nationwide continues in our Lagos studio with Adiola. Hello, Adiola. It's good to see you.
It's so good to see you too, Ayo. Now, emergency responders have commenced final evacuation of debris at a 3-story building collapse site situated at Akombi Close in Yaba area of Lagos. Abolade Salami reports that officials of a Lagos State Building Agency have cordoned off the area in order to commence investigation into the cause of the collapse.
The unfortunate incident that occurred around the Yaba area of Lagos, according to reports from emergency management agencies, claimed 4 lives while 2 persons were rescued alive. The 3-story building, still under construction, eyewitness informed NTA, was red flagged by the Lagos State Building Control Agency to suspend work on the site due to some lapses observed on the building. This, however, led to work temporarily being put on hold. Unfortunately, engineers working on the project recently returned to site to commence work, and the unimaginable happened.
I actually saw a red flag on it, but I don't know what happened thereafter. But the only thing I could see about the building is that the foundation was okay, but post-foundation level, I can't say much on that.
It was red flagged, of course, yes. Stop work came. They stopped the work, they came as a team. Who opened it? Will they continue without being opened? So There are a lot of issues I think we should look into. It's more unfortunate that it's happening this way.
The deployment of heavy-duty equipment alongside assistance from youths in the neighborhood helped in the rescue of 2 persons, while those trapped under the rubble were not lucky enough, as their remains have been deposited in the morgue. Situations where emergency responders are prevented from carrying out their rescue operation by the presence of large crowd at emergency scenes, responders say is a major challenge that must be addressed.
We have to break in the barricade before we could get to the scene of the emergency. But however, we put everything that is humanly possible to ensure that we rescue the people that were involved. We will be taking out the debris. We will be going down slowly and steadily in all the quadrants to ground zero.
In the meantime, security operatives are present at the site to ensure law and order is maintained as heavy-duty trucks cut away the debris. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
And now to other reports. Promoting trade and investment that will benefit the Nigerian economy, as well as address issues affecting the ease of doing business, dealing with regulators and foreign exchange, was the crux of a dialogue between European Union and members of European Union Chamber Nigeria held in Lagos. Amaka Owo reports.
This gathering comprises a high-powered delegation from the European Union and European Business Chamber, an association uniting main European investors and corporate organizations in Nigeria to optimize business opportunities for job creation and economic development. Describing the European Union as Nigeria's largest trading partner, the EU ambassador to Nigeria, Samuela Isopi, re-emphasized the need to reinforce economic partnerships between both entities to deepen investment and foster economic growth.
Development is about, private sector is about developing the economy. When I say private sector, it's not only to attract or help European Union companies, but also to create good conditions for the Nigerian private sector to be able to contribute to the development of the country.
Head of Trade and Economics Section, European Union to Nigeria and Economic Communities of West African States, ECOWAS, John Taylor, explained that there are huge economic potentials in Nigeria and the EU has been part of investment both in the oil and non-oil sectors, as well as need for better business environment to attract more investors.
We need to find the right balance between the EU and Nigeria to enable farmers here and producers here to grow. And one example where the EU is already very active is the dairy sector.
The European Business Chamber Nigeria was established in 2018. It has about 40 members. It comprises of 4 working groups which include the finance, trade across border, sustainability, and human resource and skills development working groups. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Lagos, but don't forget that you can follow this news live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News, Twitter handle at NTA News Now, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates. Let's take our first break, and when we return, Nationwide continues with Ayodeji in Abuja.
The 157-kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Railway is the first double-track standard gauge railway to be built in West Africa. The Mobolaji Johnson train station is a masterpiece, an infrastructure that is gradually becoming an iconic building in Lagos State. The modern facilities put the station on a world map of train stations. Likewise, other new train stations across the country built to world-class standards. The train and its convenience is indeed an admirable effort, with commendations from Nigerians.
This is a station that we have to commend the federal government for putting a beautiful face, empowering us in Lagos State, not only in economic and political arena.
I can say that I'm really impressed with the infrastructures in place. Kudos to the Minister of Transportations. Kudos to the federal government.
Truly, good things are coming out of Nigeria, and the federal government is deserving of all the applause.
Candidates who are interested in gaining admission into NTA TV College, JOS, for the 2021-2022 two-year National Innovation Diploma Program are to apply for admission through the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. Courses available for application include film and television production, broadcast journalism, and television engineering technology. Such candidates must have a minimum of 5 O-level credits in relevant subjects, including English language and mathematics. For inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. Management Announcer.
I know that in the last decade, this country has been at different wars trying to keep the peace and promote the sovereignty and the integrity of the country. The troops are doing their best. The president has given them all the necessary tools. It is left for us as young people and as Nigerians to give them all the support we can. We say kudos to all our gallant military men. Please, whenever you see a police officer in or out of uniform, if you know them, clap for them whenever they need be. Give them seats in buses and trains and airplanes. Have the airline managers reduce air tickets for them or train tickets for them. Show them that we appreciate what they do and show their families that there is something right and honorable and truly remarkable about wearing a uniform and going into the bushes and the forest to fight enemies of this country that are hell-bent in bringing your life to an end. It's a very tough time, but we have to all put our hands together. Please support our troops and support our police officers.
History is history, so either you know it or you don't.
My advice to the younger generation is that they should learn from what we have started and what we have left.
I did things that ordinarily I should not have been doing. What that meant was that I was working hard.
Whatever assignment you are given in life, put in your best.
The military years were a disaster.
Smoldering effects of all that is what we are trying to cure.
You're welcome back. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Governor Muhammad Bello of Zamfara State on the occasion of his 60th birthday, marked on 12th February, describing him as a dynamic young man with a lot of promise. In a message signed by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media, Garba Shehu, the President said, and I quote, "Happy birthday to our young and dynamic Governor of Zamfara State. The way you are interacting with the citizens of the state is impressive. Thank you for your sustained efforts to overcome the criminals in your states," and end of quotes. The federal government says the branding of Canadian protesters as terrorists or insurrectionists amounts to double standards. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this at a media briefing in Oro in Kwara State. Anthony Forsen reports.
Canadian truckers' protest over COVID-19 vaccine mandates and other COVID restrictions began last month, with their protest taking its toll on smooth operations. The government has branded them a terrorist or insurrectionists, and have been subjected to a number of clampdowns by the same government and private organizations. Giving details on how the protesters are being handled, Lai Mohammed explained that GoFundMe has shut down the campaign to raise funds for the truckers after raising over $10 million. Twitter has also suspended the truckers' account, while Ontario government has frozen access to millions of dollars donated through online platforms such as Give and Go to the protesters.
Sorry, Jimmy Watson, the mayor of Ottawa, Canada's capital city, has also declared a state of emergency in the city in response, saying the protests posed a threat to residents' safety.
Relating the truckers' protests to Nigeria, Lai Mohammed recalled.
During the NSAS protests, which culminated in the blockage of public roads and massive destruction of government and private property, Canada was one of the countries that spoke out in support of the protesters.
Even though Nigeria is not gloating on the unfortunate incident in Canada, truth, he said, must be told.
Recall also that Twitter actively supported the NSAS protesters and even raised funds, while GoFundMe was used to raise funds for the protesters. These are the same entities that are now rushing to distance themselves from the protests in Canada and even denying them the use of their platforms. This is similar to what played out during the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., where those involved are either still being investigated or have been charged to court. I don't blame them. Nobody wants their country destroyed under the guise of protests.
Nigeria's successful negotiation with Twitter to fashion out measures to enable a responsible use of the platform, which will apply to other social media platforms, is a global trailblazer aimed at preventing harmful content from social media platforms. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Maiduguri is next on Nationwide, and Abubakar is standing by for the next set of reports. It's over to you, Abubakar.
That's true, Ayodeji. Thank you for joining us. Use of smart technology and intensive sensitization have been described as the important direction for addressing the growing problems of the Lake Chad region for the benefit of all. This formed part of a communique at the end of a 3-day international conference on conflicts, indigenous institutions, and cultural sustainability organized by the Center for the Study and Promotion of Cultural Sustainability, University of Maiduguri. Mohammed Ibrahim completes the report.
The 3 days international conference is part of deliberate efforts by University of Maiduguri in providing workable solutions to address community, global concerns, and dynamics of cultural sustainability. Resolving the more than a decade-long Boko Haram insurgency and crisis within the Lake Chad region have also been topmost priority of researchers in the academic institution, with submissions by scholars on recharging the Lake Chad and other ways forward. Although proper implementation has been identified as a bottleneck, Professor Saliba James, while presenting the 4-page communique by the scholars, stressed the need for the review of national policy on IDPs, as well as massive investment on livelihood and increased access to credit towards reviving the Lake Chad. The different sessions of the international conference, according to some scholars, also served as an avenue for establishment and strengthening of academic and social relationship among foreign and indigenous scholars.
We share our thoughts on cultural sustainability. As academicians, we'll be able to also impact on our students.
Maiduguri and the entire metropolis is peaceful, except the weather is quite different from that of Ghana.
Vice Chancellor of the institution, Professor Yaba, also hosted participants to a dinner where the scholars were treated to a memorable experience. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Ibrahim, NTA News.
Reorientation and involvement of psychologists and the affairs of schools have been advocated by stakeholders in the education sector, considering the continued exposure of children to violence as a result of Boko Haram insurgency. Yagum Subukar in this report examines measures that will curtail bullying and violent attacks in schools.
A school is an educational institution designed to provide learning spaces and environment, as well as discipline and moral values under the direction of teachers. However, the acquisition of knowledge nowadays in schools is only one goal of education, forgetting the fact that children need both knowledge and morality to prepare themselves to be good friends, parents, colleagues, and law-abiding citizens in the society. Students are exposed to violence, dishonesty, and other social problems in the real world, hence the increase in violent attacks in schools, a development that has now become a global challenge. The advent of insurgency in Borno has greatly contributed to increase in population and exposure of children to all forms of violence and vices, mostly seen as leading causes of bullying in schools.
Every school and every parent have to be proactive. We have to begin to actually involve psychologists in the day-to-day activities of schools so that to check children's behavior.
In 70s and 80s, most of the teachers by that time were housed in. They used to check students' activities, especially in the night.
If these things are to change, there have to be a complete overhaul or reorientation of our whole societal values, norms, ethics, and then the personal integrities of people.
We have oriented our preparedness on this issue not to beat the younger students.
The police, however, say it is on alert to ensure no breach of law and order in schools across the state.
We have directed from the Inspector General of Police that we should provide security in all the schools.
The recent case of bullying and violent attacks of a junior secondary school student of Academy College of Islamic Theology, Maiduguri, has reawakened security consciousness in schools across the state in order to avert future occurrence. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, you're on to Nationwide on Africa's window to the world. Let's now return to Ayodeji in Abuja for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thanks, Abubakar, in our Maiduguri Network Center. Back here in Abuja, if you are an air passenger, this is cheering because the Chairman, Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Aviation have unanimously declared that the usual excuses given by airline operators for frequent delays and cancellations of flights are not tenable. They were speaking to journalists after inspecting some facilities at the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency and the Accident Investigation Bureau in Lagos. The report.
Lately, there has been a series of complaints by air travelers over incessant flight delays and some cancellations without prior notice by airlines. Many travelers have had to spend several hours at airports waiting to board. Reason for the delays are never given, and when flights are announced, no apologies from airlines. Many have taken to social media to call out airlines, a development members of the aviation committees in the National Assembly say should be handled quickly.
Providing funding and keeping the industry is good, but again, one aspect which must be equally catered for is the well-being of the workers in the aviation industry.
The issue of flight delays, which has affecting businesses and a lot of so many things. We cannot take it again. We also have agreed that we invite all the heads of agencies and invite the airline operators.
Acting Managing Director, Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, NAMA, Matthew Pajo, assured that all navigational facilities across airports to aid aircraft takeoff and landing in the event of bad weather have been installed.
As a policy and as a strategy, we are fully deploying Cat 2 minimum in any airport, whether state, federal government airport, it is Cat 2 we are doing.
The Commissioner, Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB, Akin Olateru, appealed to them to hasten the passage of AIB's multi-model bill before the National Assembly. In Lagos, Narut Nina Musa, NTA News.
We now cross over to our Ibadan Network Center, and Kemi is our guide. Good evening, Kemi.
Good evening, Ayodeji, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has restated its preparedness to combat crime and other security challenges bedeviling the country. This was at the passing out parade for the female special squad of the Corps in Ibadan. Correspondent Kayode Oladoshu has details.
In a moment like this, that the nation is facing critical challenge in the security architecture, the decision to name the threat in the board calls the creation of female special squad by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. Trained for 6 months with various tactical measures, this new set of 75 combatants will commence activities to neutralize any threat to security in the state and the country at large.
If maintaining peace at home and in the country belongs to women, then you should know what you just enrolled for now is further enhancement of peace in the country.
Now is the time for concerted effort by all stakeholders to rise, engaging every means to mitigate the threat to our collective peace and progress.
Displaying different field operations ranging from unarmed combat, rifle and silent drill, the special squad were charged to deter flagrant attack on any assailant.
At this critical time of insecurity in the nation, so much has been invested in you. Keep extending peace to Nigeria.
The Female Special Squad is one of the transformational programs of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps with a mandate to reposition the security structure of the nation. In Ibadan, Kayode Oladoshu, NTA News.
The number of filling stations selling petrol in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, continues to dwindle as motorists lament that the situation is taking its toll on their businesses. Correspondent Joel Pupola reports.
Folagbade Ibadan Road is always a beehive of activities with high vehicular movement, but the situation is different with motorists jostling to buy petrol at a few filling stations dispensing the products in Ijebu-Ode.
I came from Ekpe to Ogun State, that is Lagos State to Ogun State, because of fuel.
It is not just the motorists that are affected. Most artisans and other business owners who cannot operate their businesses without petrol were seen with jerrycan jostling to buy the commodity.
Nigeria has this petrol, but the scarcity, we don't know how it comes about. It's affecting all of us.
What we heard about it is that there is no crisis. It is a wrong buying of fuel by the NMPC, and they said they're going to withdraw it back to base, and there is no need for panic buying.
Most of the filling stations are dispensing at 165 naira per litre, but it will take an average of 30 minutes to get fuel. A filling station manager who spoke to NTA said there is no cause for alarm.
No, it's just the fear of unknown that is affecting our people.
Residents of Ijebu-Ode are hoping the narrative will change for normalcy to return. In Ijebu-Ode, Joel Pupola, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues with Ayodeji in Abuja. After this break, stay with us.
The ever-busy ancient city of Onitsha is a commercial hub with millions of commuters seamlessly linking other states daily for business, leisure, and other purposes. To upscale its road network, the construction of a 1.6-kilometer-long second Niger Bridge, including a 10.3-kilometer highway furnished with other infrastructure, has been in motion by the federal government. This project will ease congestion on the existing 56-year-old Onitsha Bridge and boost the economic capacity of the state as it easily connects to other parts of the country. The completion of the world-class second Niger Bridge Onitsha will be one of the many proud moments of the state, its people, Nigerians, and foreign investors. Onitsha, which hosts the largest market in Africa, is geared up to boast of an impressive road network. Once again, these moments are made alive by the federal government, and it is deserving of all the applause.
Contemporary times require practical skills to remain competitive and relevant in your organization. Therefore, take advantage of NTA TV College Short Proficiency courses to sharpen your professional skills. Computer Appreciation for Media Practitioners. Date 21st February to 28th February 2022. 1 week. English Grammar and Pronunciation for Broadcasters. Date 1st March to 25th March. 4 weeks. Administrative Principles, Processes and Practices. Date 11th March to 31st March 2022. 4 weeks. Modern Trends in Broadcast Media Marketing. Date 14th March to 13th April 2022. 4 weeks. Basic Broadcast Accounting and Auditing. Date 4th April to 19th April 2022. 2 weeks. The course fee for the 1 week course is 100,000 naira per participant. The fee for the 2 week course is 150,000 naira, while the course fee for the 4 week course is 180,000 naira only. Accommodation inclusive. The venue for all courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College, near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, training you to be the best you want to be.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide a company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
This is Nationwide, reaching you live from our network studio in Abuja. Remember, you can follow this broadcast on our website at nta.ng/live and YouTube channel at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page, NTA Network News, Twitter at NTA News Now, and Instagram, NTA Network, for updates. A bit of security matters. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amao, says the Nigerian Air Force will continue to build capacity on how to effectively apply air power to support sister security agencies in joint operations. He stated this in a message at the graduation ceremony of Command Responsibility Course 3 of 2022 in Makudi. Godwin in Naligu reports.
A well-trained and equipped Nigerian Air Force is critical to protect the nation. It is to achieve this that the Nigerian Air Force has continued to train its personnel in various fields. This time around, 20 of its officers have received intensive training to enable them effectively apply air power in support of joint security operations. The representative of the Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal Charles O, while expressing satisfaction with the quality of training given to the participants, says the expectations for the course have been met.
As we envisage the aspiration of this vision, it is necessary to adopt a holistic approach at all levels of leadership to ensure effective military leadership at both the tactical, operational, and strategic levels.
The Commandant, Nigeria Air Force War College, Makudi, Air Vice Marshal Olatunde Sayod reminded the participants to demonstrate the skills and knowledge they have acquired whenever the duty calls. The Command Responsibility Course, initiated in 2020, is designed to improve the quality of command and administration in the Nigerian Air Force units. In Makudi, Godwin Inalegu, NTA News.
An Indian businessman has been taken into custody for interrogation by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency over alleged smuggling of about 135,000 bottles of codeine syrup into Sokoto State through the land border between Nigeria and Niger Republic. NDLEA investigations revealed that the suspect loaded the consignment into trucks in Cotonou, Benin Republic, and drove through the land borders through Niger Republic before entering Sokoto State at the Ilela border, where he began to look for buyers before he was nabbed. Meanwhile, nationwide operations carried out by the agency led to the seizure of over 895 kilograms of illicit substances, including heroin, meth, tramadol, and cannabis. 14 suspects were arrested in connection with the seized substances. Jenny is next in our Port Harcourt Network Center for the next set of reports on Nationwide. Good evening, Jenny.
Good evening, Ayodeji. The federal government is stimulating investment at the eastern ports to enhance patronage and ease of doing business in the South-South and Southeast zone. The Minister of State Transportation, Bemisola Saraki, said this at a stakeholders forum in Port Harcourt. Robinson Darataide reports.
The eastern ports, although the oldest in the country, have suffered long years of abandonment, resulting in the congestion of the western ports. Issues of insecurity, dilapidated facilities, shallow channels, and crisscrossing of oil pipelines at some of the channels account for the abandonment. Federal government says provisions are made in the 2022 budget to address these challenges, even as some of the terminal operators have commenced the process for the construction of the damaged berths and jetties in Calabar, Onne, and Port Harcourt ports.
We must take a holistic approach to the issues of encouraging people to use here. And the number one issue there is insecurity, which we're trying to address.
And we are also discussing with manufacturing companies that import raw materials and letting them understand, for instance, if you have a factory in Aba or in Owerri, it is easier for you to import through Onne or Rivers Port, and it is shorter distance than actually bringing it through Lagos.
Some of the stakeholders called for port master plan to enhance connection between the existing ports and the proposed ports, as well as extend the tariff relief granted to ship owners to cargo owners.
There's got to be a buy-in between the federal government and its agencies, the state government and the local government, and everybody realizing that the port is there absolutely to create prosperity for the people who live in the hinterland.
The security situation in Eastern Port now, as everyone can attest, is very much improved. There is peace, so business can thrive.
The eastern ports include Calabar, Onne, Port Harcourt, and Warri ports. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Darataide, NTA News.
A proper tax system that is convenient for taxpayers and the regulatory authorities have been reiterated as a key component towards achieving higher revenue for infrastructural development. These were the views of some economists and financial experts in Port Harcourt as they x-rayed the impact of proper tax system on infrastructural development in Nigeria. Joy Uzo reports.
Taxation is a principal tool in the financing administration of the economy of any nation. Tax evasion, which is viewed as a drawback to this objective, economic and financial experts noted can be corrected by a proper tax system that is convenient for the...
Well, sincere apologies as we have to disconnect with our Port Harcourt Network Center at the moment and continue nationwide here in Abuja. The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, says the National Identification Number Name Verification Service, NVS portal, went down a few days ago due to maintenance by one of the Commission's network service providers, has been fully restored. A statement signed by NIMC's head of corporate communications, Kayode Adegoke, indicates that customers and service providers can now take full advantage of the two verification platforms, tokenization and NVS, both of which were effective for verification and authentication of the national identification number. NIMC extends its profound gratitude to the general public and partners for their support during the NVS downtime and use of the tokenization platform. The statement adds that NIMC will continue to come up with innovative identity management solutions to enhance its capacity to deliver on its mandate. The federal government is sustaining investment in Federal University of Lafayette to enhance research and build manpower for economic development of the country. The Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Shehu Abdurrahman, while inaugurating Servicom units of the institution, among other projects, commended federal government interventions in the education sector. Bilkisu Umar reports.
After just recovering from the recent cases of abduction of some students, the Federal University of Lafia seems to be settling down to the provision of conducive atmosphere for teaching and learning. Some of the projects inaugurated include network of roads, the university printing press, and the Servicom unit, which students and staff describe as a positive development towards achieving the mandate of the institution.
The university has developed very much better than other universities that has been established even before our own.
The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Shehu Abdurrahman, charged the students to reciprocate the federal government gesture by taking their studies seriously and shunning social vices.
We are expanding more in the number of students, in the number of staff, and we need to put in place some policy documents that is going to help us in operating or carrying out decisions that is going to be consistent.
The Vice-Chancellor, in the process, backed an award of excellence by the Students' Union body in appreciation. In Lafia, Bilkisu Umar Gurku, NTA News.
And up next is Sports Updates.
Chelsea Football Club has won the FIFA Club World Cup for the very first time after beating Brazilian club side Palmeiras in extra time with goals from Romelu Lukaku and a Kai Havertz penalty. In the Nigerian Professional Football League, Saturday match result shows that Eyimba and Niger Tornadoes played a 1-1 draw. Katsina beat Kwara United by 1-0. Rivers United thrashed Wiki Tories by 3-0. In the English Premier League, Saturday match result shows that Manchester United and Southampton played a 1-1 draw. Brighton beat Watford 2-0 away. Everton beat Leeds by 3-0. Brentford and Crystal Palace played a goalless draw. Ahead of the Super Eagles and the Black Stars of Ghana, Qatar 2022 World Cup playoffs, President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, has confirmed that Odion Ighalo will be back for the World Cup playoffs in March. Ighalo was included in Nigeria's 2021 AFCON squad after coming out of retirement, but could not make the team due to club engagement. However, Pinnick confirmed that the 32-year-old striker will be back for the two massive games against the Black Stars of Ghana. The NFF president confirmed Ighalo's commitment to the Super Eagles after visiting Ighalo in Saudi Arabia during the FIFA World Club competition. Nigeria's women's basketball team, the D Tigresses, increased their chances of qualifying for the FIBA Women's World Cup after beating their French counterparts 67-65 in their second Group B match at the ongoing FIBA Women's World Cup qualifiers in Serbia on Friday night. The D Tigresses will now take on their Malian counterparts on Sunday in their last group match. Nigeria's Israel Adesanya retained his UFC 271 middleweight title on Saturday night after defeating Robert Whittaker in Houston, Texas. Over 6,000 fans packed into the Toyota Center to watch the middleweights rematch, almost 3 years in the making. With Sports Update, Gift George, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has condoled with the family of former Governor of Oyo State, late Christopher Adebayo Alao Akala, and described him as a politician whose beliefs were anchored on the peace and progress of his state, Oyo, and the country. Anthony Forsen reports.
The Information and Culture Minister, in company of his aides and the Chairman House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Value, arrived the Okwadoyin Lodge, Randa area of Ogbomosho, residence of the deceased. Commiserating with the family, Lai Mohammed said the late Alao Akala was an honest and decent politician.
He was always a man of the people. I think his life teaches us one thing, that at the end of the day, all politics is local. Yes. And you can hardly ever get recognition outside if you are not celebrated at home.
The minister noted that his death has created a huge vacuum on the political landscape of Nigeria. Olamijuwonlo Alao Akala expressed gratitude for the verdict. The late Alao Akala, who retired from Nigerian Police Force as an Assistant Commissioner of Police in 1995, later joined politics. Thereafter, in 1998, he was Deputy Governor to Senator Rashidi Ladoja, before becoming the Governor of our state in 2006, an office he held until 2011. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
And that's nationwide. We thank you for watching. I'm Ayo Deji. Makinde, please remember to connect with the NTA and stand against rape and rapists. On behalf of the entire production crew, good evening.